Hi people, Daniel from Devil & Sons Guitars here, and welcome to the third video in my series I'm making for the Great Guitar Build-Off. In today's video, I'm focusing on how I painted and relic the body of the Staff of Light guitar. Fantastic, so if you've seen the first two videos, you'll have seen my design process, how I worked with musician Dr. Gothic to come up with this really unique and very different guitar, and how I built the actual body itself. Now, as you can see in this video behind me, I'm actually preparing the guitar to be sprayed. Now, the first thing I need to do is prime it, but I want to make sure the primer doesn't go over any of the crystal or acrylic mirror bits. So what I'm doing is simply cutting some masking tape. I like to use orange frog tape. Frog tape is the brand. The orange one is good for gloss materials, but I find it just general purpose good for working on guitars. I'm covering all the areas that I don't want to get any paint on. So that's the primer in the first stage. I'm going to be priming the body. I'm going to be painting it in different colours so that I can relic it. So here we can look at what it looks like with the tape on. I was putting photos up on Instagram and people really seemed to like what was going on at the time. So don't forget to follow me there because there's more photos of the build. So when I'm painting this, the last colour is going to be white, and I want to make sure all the edges of the mirrored parts and of the clear acrylic don't have any of the primer showing through. So first I'm edging in all the edges of the tape with white paint. That way it's sort of sealing the tape down against the guitar and making sure the primer doesn't fit underneath. So a little bit of shameless self-promotion here. I actually have a series of videos I've already made about how to paint your guitar. It goes from preparing to priming to base coating to top coating your guitar, and then follows through with the whole buffing process. For this guitar, I'm using Montana Gold spray paints, and I've actually got another video about how to use them because they're not the sort of paint you'd expect to use on a guitar, but I find their range of colours is so fantastic. I'll leave a link in the description below, in the cards above, and if you subscribe to me, you can find that playlist. But for now, I'm putting on the primer coat. And actually the primer I'm using is just a grey acrylic primer. I use it to help seal the body as well. So I haven't put any grain filler in. I find a few coats of the primer really helps fill the grain. As you can see here, as I'm panning across, you can see some of the grain showing through. But actually, for what I want for this relic look at the end, some dents and dings are quite useful. But what I do once I put the first coat of primer on is I sand it back to try and get a smooth surface. So here I am doing that. I'm using 600 grit to really smooth the surface off, and then I go back and put another coat of primer on. That gets a sand as well. I got through a load of sandpaper on this, and here you can see the exact finish before I'm going in for my second coat of primer. I love that look actually. It's almost a finish you could work with on a guitar. Maybe not in the grey, maybe another colour with the wood would look really cool. Anyway, I then did another coat of primer to seal all that in. And then I went through with the chrome. The chrome is going to be the base layer behind the white. So when I scratch the white back and relic it, you see the chrome coming through. Here I put the white and the chrome in one montage. Anyway, once the white's on, I did the relicing. Oh, did I mention another bit of shameless self-promotion? I actually have a video about relicing a guitar, but that is a true relic, where a customer actually sent me his Telecaster and photos of a really old Telecaster that looked very similar, but he wanted that relic feel to his. So then I was inspired by the photos he sent me on how I reliced it. But again, you can find that by looking at my channel. Go subscribe while you're there, and give me a thumbs up if you're liking this build. So one of the most exciting stages is to peel away that tape, revealing the guitar underneath. And again, I'm not being too precious here because I don't mind the odd dent in it for that relic look. But what I was hoping to do here is peel away a lot of the tape to reveal the clearness underneath and to tidy that up. So just using a scalpel to tidy up the edges, and then give it a little bit of a sand all over in prep for the top clear coat. Now, here I also go back in with a little bit of white to fill any gaps, a little bit of silver to kind of add to the relic, and then I've got this chrome mirror paint from Stuart Semple or Culture Hustle. It's meant to be the mirrorest mirror paint ever. What I really wanted to do was fill up any gaps where wood was showing through, to paint some of the edges of those acrylic rods to give them a different effect, and to add a bit more relic look to it. But while I'm here, Dr. Gothic, in the conversations we were going along, really wanted his hardware to be Relic too. So first of all, I scuff up the chrome, then I paint it all, then I scuff up the paint that's on it, and then that is now ready with the Relic finish to get a varnish over the top. I've done this many times in different colours and different effects on guitars, and what I find is it really does not in any way affect the playability if you make sure the paint doesn't really get into any of the mechanisms itself. Did exactly the same with the pickups, gave them a base coat of chrome, painted them in white, and then did that Relic finish on them. Here we've got 3 pickups. As you'll see in my later video, I combined 2 to make a humbucker. Now there's just a little bit of cleaning and dusting to make sure there's nothing on the surface before I go over it here with my 2K. I'm using Spray Max 2K again. As I mentioned, I've got a whole video about how that works and what it is, but it is one of the best rattle can finishes for guitars. It really dries hard and solid. I actually did a double set of coats with the Spray Max. So that's 3 in the first session, as you'll see in my guide to using Spray Max. Sanded that down to try and get it as smooth as possible. Then another 3 coats. And the reason I did that is to try and level out all the dents that were there and to level out the crossover between the mirror and the paint. And then it's buffing it up. Have I told you I've made a video about that? With buffing up, it's quite a slow process. I put all the videos here in a split screen. Essentially, I'm working through different compounds until I get it really shiny. What does it look like next, I hear you ask? Well, I'm not going to spoil that here. In my next video, I'm focusing on the entire neck build. But then after that is the video where I assemble it all together. And in fact, there's more mirror to be added to this guitar. So stay tuned for that video. I'm releasing 2 a week. And don't forget, if you're watching this at the end of the Great Guitar Build-Off, at the start of July 2021, you can vote for me if you love this guitar. More news on how to do that on my Instagram account, and on Facebook if you're there, and in that final video. Until next time, happy strumming.